Yo, what's going on guys, XpertFusion here, and today I want to do a video going over what I think makes a good zombies Easter egg quest. This is of course for the main quest, not for like the side quest, just for the main Easter egg quest, because we've had some really good ones over time and we had some really bad ones, we've had some meh ones. Firebase Z is coming out soon, and they have actually just released the brand new like concept art poster for the map, and it looks beautiful. I'm expecting to see some trailers into next week, probably a lot of teasers as well. And then of course, February 4th is the full release of the map. So definitely expect to see live streams from me playing the map for the first time, going through the Easter egg and all that fun stuff as we usually do. But in this video, I'm gonna go over 5 things that I think makes a good Easter egg quest, because like I said, I want these quests to be good. And unfortunately, D Machine's Easter egg is probably one of my least favorite that we've had in a while. I just don't find it all that enjoyable. Now, it's not a bad Easter egg. I think a bad Easter egg would have to be much more tedious and annoying. This one's kind of the opposite end of the spectrum, where it's not tedious, it's not annoying, but it's not fun either. There's not much to it. There isn't much engaging factors to it. And like I said, we're going to talk about the 5 things that make a good Easter egg quest right in this video. First things first, something that most zombie maps have not succeeded in, and this is rewards. So whether it be in-game rewards or out-of-game rewards, these Easter eggs need to give us rewards. Now let's talk about what maps have given rewards. So when it comes to in-game rewards, this only goes for maps that don't end the game after the Easter egg. And this is not a thing I have a specific point on, but it is something I still want to mention. I prefer when Easter eggs don't end the game, because that demotivates me to wanting to do the Easter egg sometimes if I feel like going for high round runs. If you go for high round runs, you can't even do the Easter egg. I prefer maps like Drak or, Zetsubonoshima, where you complete the Easter egg, you could still play the game afterwards. Now, story-wise, yes, for some maps that doesn't make sense. Like D Machine, you blow up the whole place in the Easter egg, so why would that make any sense to go there? I'm gonna say this right off the bat, this is not a point either, but it is something I need to mention. They need to stop putting story over gameplay. I love the story and I want to see the story fleshed out, but do not sacrifice the gameplay for the sake of the story. Instead, they should be sacrificing the story for the sake of the gameplay. Who the hell cares that the map blew up? Just teleport us back to another version of the map or something after the whole blow up happens, and then you play the map afterwards. I don't think people care that much. I don't think they need to be immersed, or you can even give us the option. Maybe we want to exfil, maybe we don't. Be like, oh, okay, I could press this button and I can leave the map and you win the game. It says game over, you win, you've done the Easter egg. Or you can continue the game, you still complete the Easter egg, but you could still just hop in the game and just continue playing until you feel like stopping. That is what they should do for every map going forward. We should never be forced to end the game after the Easter egg, but like I said, if that's the case, hopefully there's good in-game rewards, and many maps have done that, whether it be a Perkaholic or a 90-second death machine on Ascension, which is kind of a meh reward, if you know what I mean. But there's also some out-of-game rewards, which out-of-game rewards could either be something that you get in the menu screen, like a calling card or an emblem, or whether it be something that can go, game to game. Like for example, on Call of the Dead, if you complete the Easter egg, you can always get the Wonder Waff after killing every game afterwards, which is a really awesome reward. Infinite Warfare, in my opinion, did the best with rewards. They had so many rewards. Obviously, Director's Cut mode you unlock after completing all of the Easter egg quests, and you get all these cool little things like the katana on Shaolin Shuffle. You can always purchase the katana off the wall after every game after doing the Easter egg. And you can also get the chainsaw after every game after the Easter egg on Raven the Redwoods. Tons of awesome rewards. They need to do better with this. I think the best way to do it would give us an operator or a blueprint for completing an Easter egg. Like there should be a specific blueprint or operator to each map's Easter egg, so it feels rewarding, something you can carry game to game, even into multiplayer, and be like, yo, look at me, I have this cool operator. Calling cards no one care about, right? They don't. No one gives a shit about call. Okay, most people don't give a shit. There's some people who do, but most people do not care about calling cards or emblems. So giving us those for completing the Easter egg, of course it's a nice bonus, but like you should have an operator or some sort of a blueprint or camo or something instead. And then when it comes to just in-game rewards, yeah, they could probably figure something out. Maybe just make the map a little bit easier for people in the future with little shortcuts or something like that. Like I said, like what Infinite Warfare did, giving certain wonder weapons unlockable much easier. Whatever it may be, these maps need better rewards. Next up is a pretty obvious point, and this is just replay value. It needs replayability, right? So how do you do this? How do you give it replayability? I think the best way to do that is to make it so there's multiple routes of how to complete it, right? I don't like Easter eggs where they're very linear in how you do things. Like you kind of do the same exact thing every game, which is why I'm okay with RNG here and there in Easter eggs, because RNG at least allows for you to like have to change up your playstyle. Like Origins, for example, is an Easter egg I'm not too fond of because of how tedious some of the steps can be, but there is a lot of RNG in it, which forces you to kind of change up the way you do things and the order you do things in. So that's one thing I kind of like. I love maps, obviously, like Der Eisendrache that have multiple wonder weapons that you only need one for the Easter eggs. So every time I can change up which one I decide to go for. One game I could be like, oh, I'm going to go for the Storm Bow this game. But next game, I'm going to go for the Void Bow just for fun. Like it allows you to change up your playstyle. To me, that's something that's good. It gives you replay value. D Machine's Easter egg, I don't feel like has that replay value. I really don't. I think it's just way too linear. I do this basically the same exact steps pretty much every single time I do it. And although it's not a tedious Easter egg, it's not one that requires like a many, guides or like cheat sheets like some of the other Easter eggs do, which we'll get into talking about that type of stuff later. But it's still an Easter egg that I don't find much enjoyment in because it's the same thing every time. There isn't much variety. Yes, you can choose, which wonder weapon you want to bring to the boss fight, but like, let's be real here, only one of them is really that great anyways. The other ones aren't that useful in the boss fight, so most people are going to go with the better one anyways. But like I said, I just think they need to make Easter eggs a lot of different routes that you can go for. I don't mean like full on, different endings to the Easter egg. I just mean to get to that specific ending, let us do in a variety of ways that makes sense. You know what I mean? A lot of room for maybe doing it even faster to make even more fun for speedrunners. Just give us a lot of different things for these Easter eggs, so there's a lot of different ways to improve your times and improve your efficiency in completing them. Next up is good puzzle steps. So puzzle steps, there's two different types of steps to Easter eggs, and these are the next 2 points here, right? I'm gonna talk about puzzle steps now, but there's also what I call like action steps. So puzzle steps are essentially steps in Easter eggs where you have to kind of figure something out, whether it be using a cheat sheet or whether it be looking at numbers or comparing numbers to like certain codes or something. A lot of maps have these type of steps. Let's be real here. I feel like D Machine kind of left the puzzle steps out and they don't really have them simply because of the fact that a lot of people complained about puzzle steps in the past. I want to see them back, but you have to do them in a better way. The problem with previous games' puzzle steps is that if you couldn't get a crawler, they were terrible. I think the easy way to fix it is just make it so these puzzle steps are something that you can efficiently do without even getting a crawler in the first place. You can just literally go up to this thing, well, let's say it's a machine and you're trying to figure out some sort of a puzzle on the machine. You can just go up to it, hold X on it, and no zombies can attack you while you're doing this. Every other zombies map we've ever had, they would make it so whenever you're doing these steps, zombies can still attack you. This makes it very unsolo friendly. It's just obnoxious to do a lot of Easter eggs on solo because of this. And even with teammates, it's annoying because one teammate either has to hold a zombie or try to get a crawler, and sometimes they die out, and it's just so incredibly frustrating. Don't make it these like puzzle steps reliant on whether or not you can hold the zombie at the end of the round. Make it so you can just try to do it and make it like an intellectual sort of a test. And don't make it so it's like a cheat sheet type test. I'm not a big fan of some of those maps where it's very samey with the puzzle steps. It's the same exact code you have to put in every time, or the same exact order, or the same exact whatever. And you just have to look at some cheat sheet you found on a YouTube guide and figure it out from there. I think it's much cooler when the thing itself is something that's actually interactable and you have to kind of figure it out for yourself. Now, you would say, oh, well, the first time around, you'll learn how to do it and you'll be fine. That's why I'm saying every time, change it up a little bit. Obviously make it so, obviously they've done it before, but people are always able to find like algorithms to exactly how you can complete it. Like, for example, the Garad Crow v Valve step. I think that step could have been really interesting, but people came out with sites to, fix it, figure it out in seconds just by putting two different numbers in and you get the exact answer you need. But I think that step could have been more interesting if maybe it was made in a way that makes more sense to most people and also you can do again without having zombies attacking you. But that step wasn't too bad because you didn't have to like stand there and look at something for too long. You kind of just run around the map and figure it out yourself. I'm okay with steps like that. There's a lot of other steps like this in the past as well, and I think they can do a good job with them. Again, you just have to make it so the player has time to do it. Maybe they go into a room for this step and they have to figure something out in a room and there's no zombies in this room. So they could just sit in this room and figure out this puzzle. That to me would be cool and fun, and it would make these Easter eggs much more replayable. And I don't care if casuals can't figure it out. Just tell them to get smart, because I don't care about trying to please every little tiny person possible, because let's be real here, I think most people can agree, for the hardcore community, this Easter egg, D Machines, was just not that enjoyable. That's why no one's doing it anymore. No one's playing it. You don't see people playing this Easter egg every day. You know, not like the past maps we've had. People used to always play maps every other day, but let's talk about the action steps now. So as I said, there was two different types of steps, puzzle steps and action steps. There actually is like a third type of step, I guess, which is called like fetch quest type steps. I'm not a big fan of fetch quests. I don't think they're enjoyable. This is essentially like tag or totem, where you're going around the map and holding X on certain things, and you're just going around continuously doing that and trying to find certain things around the map. I don't mind them, but like, especially on big maps, it's just not really fun going around holding X on things. I don't think that's engaging, especially when, again, you learn the algorithm of exactly where these things are going to spawn. You're not really searching for it now. You're just going where the Easter egg guide tells you to go. So I think fetch steps or fetch quest type steps should either be removed completely or just limited to a small amount. But when it comes to action steps, these are the ones that I think should be the most involved in these Easter egg quests. I think like 80% of it should be action steps. Action steps are steps that involve the process of you actually killing zombies or bosses of some sort, because that's what zombies is all about, right? Zombies is all about killing bosses. So examples of action steps obviously would be stuff like Ancient Evil's Hit Your Mark step, where it's kind of puzzly in some way, but it's mainly just you going around killing zombies in specific ways. You know, stuff like filling up souls in chests, that's an action step. Or boss fights are technically action steps, but we're gonna be talking about boss fights later. These steps are the best to me because, yes, they're the most fun, they're fast-paced, and you have to try to get everyone involved in them too. I think that is where it becomes the most enjoyable. I feel like a lot of Easter eggs kind of miss out on this though. They usually do like 50% fetch quest stuff like 30% puzzle stuff, and then you have like that 20% of having actual action steps. I think they need more of them. I don't care what it is, whether it be stuff like, a mid-boss, right? A mid-boss in between the Easter egg. I think that would be cool. We've had stuff like that in Zetsubo no Shima. I want to see more of that, where you have to go get something. You have to get a part for a specific part of the Easter egg. But to get this part, you have to go into a separate room, and it puts you in this mini boss fight, and you have to get the part after being the boss. You get the part, and then now you have it. That's not even the full boss fight. That's just one boss that you have. I want to see more mini bosses. I want to see more steps where you have to kill zombies in a certain proximity for certain things, where you have to kill certain boss zombies, or maybe they just throw a bunch of boss zombies at you for one step because whatever. You know, I want to see more steps like that in these Easter eggs. Those to me are the best. I mean, look at Infinite Warfare. To me, the best Easter egg in Infinite Warfare, the best ones are Spaceland and Raven Redwoods. Both Easter eggs that are like 99% action steps and like 1% fetch quests. Like, there's really not many puzzles to them. I guess maybe there's that one step that's kind of puzzly in Spaceland right before the boss fight. But you get my idea. You get my point. I need more action steps. Those are the most enjoyable. I think everyone would agree with me on that. They don't want to sit around doing puzzles or fetch quests all day. I still want to see puzzles, done well, done right, of course, but action steps should always be the priority. So the last point, I didn't even think I would have to make this a point, but ever since D Machine and Tiger Toten, I guess I have to. Boss fights. Give us a damn boss fight every single time. I'm going to confidently say that. I know some people disagree with me. Some people want every now and then for Easter eggs to just not have boss fights. Now, the way I see it is for the main game, the main maps, right? And that includes at least one launch map and at least 4 DLC maps. That's kind of the precedent that was sent prior. When a precedent is sent for games, movies, shows, I expect them to live up to it. And you can give them a million different excuses as to why there was no boss fight in D Machine, whether it be a budget concern, or they didn't have enough time to do it, or they just didn't want to, or they wanted it to be easier. I don't know. I don't think any of those excuses are good. I think every single one of them is just no. And I'll explain why. So if you say it's because of the budget, right? That's why they couldn't do a boss fight. I say bullshit to that, because I don't think it's that difficult for them to make a boss fight. It doesn't have to be anything too spectacular, right? I'm not asking for anything crazy. I would have preferred something crazy, but given their circumstances, if we needed something simpler, they could have still done it. And I'll explain what they could have done. Honestly, the Megaton. Just do the Megaton, a bigger version of it though, and it's just one version that has more health and maybe just does more damage towards the player, and have that be the boss fight. Hell, they didn't even have to change the Easter egg at all to include a boss fight. They could have made it so maybe when you leave the arena, like that downstairs area where you're, doing that last step of the Easter egg, and then you have to leave and there's all the fire and such, maybe right when you get to the plane outside, the helicopter, this big dude just gets right in front of you, and it's this same exact Megaton, just made a little bit bigger, which I don't think that would have been hard for them to do. You just literally take the Megaton and just make him bigger. I'm not a game developer or anything, but like, I really don't think that would be hard to just increase the size of an already existing model in the game. You see him outside, and now you gotta fight him before you can get to the helicopter. That would have been fun. That would have been worth it. I find boss fights to be really enjoyable. The best parts of most Easter eggs, to be honest. In Dr. Toten, when it didn't have one, I was very disappointed, but I was able to accept it. I was like, okay, it's just one map, whatever. But that's another map in a row? Come on. Now, when it comes to small survival maps that usually don't have Easter eggs, of course, I don't need a boss fight for those maps. But D Machine was our launch map. This is not supposed to be a small survival map. I don't know why people say it is. They're not trying to go back to the World at War or BO1 days. If they are, then they're doing a terrible idea, because that was 10 years ago. We are so much further into the future now. Boss fights have been a staple for a while, and I expect to see them on these maps. I just do. They're great ways to end these maps, and it's not like it's a formula, because you can make the boss fights very different, right? People say that, they don't want to be formulaic. That's why they don't want boss fights every Easter egg. Just make every boss fight that we have a little bit different. Make them unique. You don't have to have every single boss fight be the exact same. We really don't need that. They can do a lot of cool things with it. Literally, Dead Ops Arcade 3 has like 20 boss fights. I mean, there's so many cool boss fights in Dead Ops Arcade 3. And you mean to tell me D Machine couldn't do one simple boss fight? Are you kidding me? And what we had was not a boss fight. It was a mini boss fight against bosses we've already seen before. To me, the bosses should be something we haven't seen before. And yes, just increasing the size of the Megaton, would it be that different than the regular Megaton? No, but it's still new. It's still something different because it's at least bigger. And that, to me, that at least makes it a decent boss fight. I think every map needs that, man. I really do. Every main map needs a boss fight, man. I'm gonna say that confidently. There's so many cool things they could do with boss fights. Hell, like I said, I want mini boss fights too. I want little parts of Easter eggs where you have to fight bosses, you move on to another section, you fight another boss, and then the final boss comes later. Why not? Why the hell not? Make these Easter eggs more fun, because D Machine, I'm sorry, it's a good map. I like Cold War zombies, but the Easter egg is disappointing. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully Firebase Z has a great Easter egg, but I finished the video, so I will see you on the next one. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Peace out.